All right, folks, now we're going to find the midpoint of a line segment. So your target from 11.7 is to be able to find the midpoint of a line segment. So what does that look like? How do we do that? So 11.7 is means and midpoints because all the midpoint is a mean or an average. So here's the big idea from 11.7 is that the coordinates of a midpoint of a segment are the averages of the coordinates of the endpoints of the segment. So that's where mean comes from with respect to midpoint. So what does that mean? If we want to find the mean or the average or the midpoint of a, let's say we're looking at a scale here, and we have 77 to 92. To find the midpoint, we're going to add those two values together, 77 and 92, and then divide by 2. So we find the average. So we take the sum of all the values and then divide by how many values there are. That's how we find the mean of any set of numbers. How many ever numbers there are, add them all together, divide by how many numbers there are. So 169 divided by 2 is about 84.5. So the mean of 77 and 92 is 84.5. In other words, to associate this with the midpoint of the segment with endpoints 77 and 92 is 84.5. That's the midpoint. That's right in the middle. It's the same distance from each of the endpoints. So what does this look like on a coordinate plane? What if we have x and y values and 2 points on a coordinate plane, not just a one-dimensional ruler here? In the coordinate plane, the midpoint of the segment with these two endpoints, x1 and y1 and x2, y2, is this formula. We have this x value, or this x coordinate, is going to be the average of the x values. And then the y coordinate will be the average of the y values. We're just doing two different averages because now we're in a two-dimensional space as opposed to a one-dimensional space on just a ruler. So let's do an example here. Find the coordinates of the midpoint for the segment with the following endpoints, 1, 6, and -3, 1. So if we want to find the midpoint, if we plot these two on a coordinate plane and we want to find the point that's in the middle of these two, we're going to use the midpoint formula. We're going to take the average of the x values, 1 plus -3, and divide it by 2. And then we're going to take the average of the y values, 6 plus 11, and divide it by 2. So the average of the x values will be our x coordinate. The average of the y values will be our y coordinate. 1 plus -3 is -2. 6 plus 11 is 17. -2 divided by 2 is -1. 17 divided by 2 is 8.5. So if I was to graph these points, or plot these points, and then draw the line that connects them, the line segment that connects those two, the midpoint, the point that's the same distance from both of these coordinates, is -1, 8.5.